Namaste to all students. Myself JV and Dr. Khushbu Verma from Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science. Today we are going to discuss about shuttle vector. This session is related to recombinant DNA technology course of program BTech FBT 4 SEM. So first of all, you have to know about that what are the shuttle vectors and what is the role of shuttle vector in molecular cloning and why they are different from other kind of vectors. So a vector is an organism that does not cause disease itself but which spreads infection by conveying pathogens from one host to another. This is the basic definition of a vector which already present naturally in organisms. So DNA molecule originating from a virus which is known as plasmid or the cell of a higher organism into which another DNA fragment of appropriate size can be integrated without the loss of the vector capacity for self-replication. Vectors introduce foreign DNA into the host cell where it can be reproduced in large quantity. So this is the role of basic vector. And reason for developing shuttle vector, why we need the shuttle vectors? Because most of the vectors can fulfill the previous requirements and previous rules, but why we need the shuttle vectors? So prokaryotic vector cannot exist and work in the eukaryotic cells, means if we want like a vector which is capable to do transformation and the replication in bacterial cell, but they are not capable when we try to introduce them into eukaryotic cells. So they will, first of all, they will not transform into the eukaryotic cells and they will not replicate into number of cells because they have no origin of replication reason for the eukaryotic cells. So prokaryotic vectors cannot exist and work in the eukaryotic cells because the system of the two groups of organisms vary. As I told you that eukaryotic cell system and prokaryotic cell system are completely different from each other. So prokaryotic lacks intron regions as because prokaryotic cells are very small in the size in comparison to eukaryotic cells. Why? Eukaryotic cells consist of intron regions, means non-coding region. This is the basic difference in between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, and therefore vectors with two origin of replication were constructed which may exist in both eukaryotes and prokaryotes. Means uh, prokaryotic vectors, as I told you, can exist into the eukaryotic cells because they don't have any origin of replication for eukaryotic cells, because eukaryotic cells have different system of genetic material because they are having intron regions as well, but in prokaryotic cells they have lack, they don't need intron regions. So if a prokaryotic vector is having only origin of replication for prokaryotic cells, so they can replicate into the prokaryotic cells but they can't replicate into the eukaryotic cells. So in the shuttle vector, we constructed a vector which is having both type of replication, origin of replication region, means one for prokaryotic cells and second one for eukaryotic cells. So when required, that shuttle vector can replicate, can exist and can work into the prokaryotic cell as well. They can work into the eukaryotic cells because they have both origin of replication reason. So they can simply start the origin of replication when they introduce, when they enter into the cell of any type. Now come to the definition of shuttle vector. A vector, usually a plasmid, constructed so that it can propagate in two different host species. Since these vectors can be grown in one host and then moved into another without an extra manipulation, they are called shuttle vectors. These vectors have been designed to replicate in cells of two different species, therefore, that contain two origin of replication, one specific for each host species, as well as those genes necessary for their replication and not provided by the host cell. And these vectors are created by the recombinant techniques. Some of them can be grown in two different prokaryotic species, usually E. coli and a eukaryotic one, for example, yeast, plants, and elephant. Yak 13 is an example of the shuttle vector. So this is the famous example for the shuttle vector. So here we can simply understand by the definition of the shuttle vector. Basically, it is capable to exist and work into two different hosts. One is prokaryotic cell and second one is eukaryotic cells, because shuttle vectors are having both type of origin of replication. One is specific for each host species, means one for prokaryotic cells and second one is for eukaryotic cells. And eukaryotic cells can be yeast, plant, and animals. And YAP vector, YAP 13 especially, is a very famous shuttle vector. And the yeast Saccharomyces cerevisiae is the one of the most important organism in the biotechnology. And development of the cloning vector for yeast was initially stimulated by the discovery of a plasmid that is present in most strains of the Saccharomyces cerevisiae. The 2 micrometer plasmid, as it is called, is one of the only a very limited number of plasmids found in the eukaryotic cells. The vectors derived from the 2 micrometer plasmid are called 2 microM plasmid are called yeast episomal plasmids, YEPs vectors, and some YEPs contain the entire 2 micrometer plasmid. Others include just 2 micrometer origin of replication. An example of the latter type is YEP30. The 2 microM plasmid is an excellent basis for the cloning vector or shutter vector, and it is a 6 kilo base pair in size, which is ideal for a vector and exists in the yeast cell at the copy number of between 70 and 200. Replication makes use of the plasmid origin. Several enzymes provided by host cell and the proteins encoded by the RAP1 and RAP2 genes carried by the plasmid. So simply you can understand here that the YAP vector can be constructed by natural plasmid which is already present, which is episomal plasmid, yeast plasmid, 2 microM plasmid. We can construct it by this plasmid shuttle vector, and in the shuttle vector we can use complete 2 microM plasmid, or we can use only origin of replication or region of 2 micrometer plasmid. An example is ZF13, as I told you in previous slide, and the 2 micrometer plasmid is an excellent basis for the cloning vector, and it is 6 kilo base pair in the size, and basically it exists in the yeast cell at the copy number of 70 to 200, means they can replicate in this large number, and replication makes use of the plasmid origin. Several enzymes provided by the host cell and proteins coded by the RAP1 and RAP2 genes carried out by the plasmid. So means that 2 micrometer plasmid region is containing RAP1 and RAP2 genes, which encodes the protein which are basically important for the replication and the multiplication of the vector. Here you can simply see the structure of shuttle vector. This is basic structure of 2 micrometer plasmid of yeast, which is naturally present. Here you can see this is RAP1 region, this is RAP2 region, which are involved in the replication of the plasmid, and FLP region, which codes for the protein, then convert the A form of the plasmid shown here, which has been shown here, to the B form, in which gene order has been rearranged by the intramolecular recombination. The function of the D region is not exactly known, and this is the reason of origin of replication, which is required for the replication into the yeast cell. RAP1 and RAP2 region, FLP region, basically codes for the protein which can convert this A form into the B form, and there will be gene order will be rearranged in the B form. So this is the basic structure, and this is a 6 kilo base pair A form of the 2 micrometer plasmid. However, all is not perfectly straightforward in the using of 2 micrometer plasmid as the cloning vector. First, there is a question for a selectable marker, because we have already seen in the picture there is no selectable marker for the identification of recombinant and non-recombinant cells. Here gene LEU2, which codes for the beta isopropyl malate dehydrogenase, one of the enzymes involved in the conversion of pyruvic acid to leucine, is used as a marker. In order to use LEU2 as a selectable marker, a special kind of a host organism is needed. The host must be an auxotrophic mutant that has a non-functional LEU2 gene. Means we need that type of a host which is not having functional LEU2 gene, so that they cannot code the beta isopropyl malate dehydrogenase, and when they are not capable to synthesize this enzyme, so they are not capable for the conversion of pyruvic acid to the leucine. So this concept can be used as a selectable marker. So when we are if we are growing that host on normal media which is having pyruvic acid, so they will not able to convert pyruvic acid to the leucine. But when we are introducing the 2 micro m plasmid into the mutant host which is lacking the LEU2 region, when we introduce it and if it is successful, so after the transformation process, that yeast cell which is mutant is capable to synthesize beta isopropyl malate dehydrogenase enzyme, and then they convert the pyruvic acid into the leucine. So we will get the traces of the leucine, and we can measure the leucine, that how much leucine have been produced by the substrate pyruvic acid. So this is how we can identify that particular yeast cell has been recombinant or not. So this kind of a selectable marker can be used, and such a mutant yeast is unable to synthesize leucine and can survive only if this amino acid supplied as a nutrient in the growth media. Selection is possible because transformants contain a plasmid bound copy of the LEU2 gene and are also able to grow in the absence of the amino acid. So one more thing, that the yeast cell is not capable to maintain or capable to exist without the leucine amino acid. So mutant cell will not grow in the media which is not having leucine. But if after the transformation process, if 2 micrometer plasmid has been introduced into the mutant cell, so after the transformation process, that cell will able to grow in that media which is not having leucine, because now they are capable to synthesize leucine from the pyruvic acid, because they are having the enzyme beta isopropyl malate dehydrogenase enzyme. In a cloning experiment, cells are plated out in onto minimal medium which contains no added amino acids. Only transformed cells are able to survive and to form the colonies. So this is the basic concept behind the selection method in the molecular cloning. We can understand this selection method by a diagrammatic representation. You can simply see here, this is LEU2 mutant yeast which is not having this region, and this cell which is having chromosome for no LEU2 gene. When we grow this kind of a cell on medium, so medium must contain the leucine. Then this mutant colonies can grow on the medium. But when we are using a media which is not having leucine, so they will not capable to survive and they are not capable to make the colonies. On the other hand, when we are using LEU2 as a selection marker, selectable marker, and when we are introducing this vector into these cells, and we are using a media which is not having leucine, so these cells will easily grow up on this media, because now they are having a vector which is having LEU2 region, and this LEU2 region will synthesize the enzyme which converts the pyruvic acid into the leucine. So that's how uh, this selection method can work. Yep 13 vector basically illustrates the several general features of yeast cloning vectors. First, it is a shuttle vector as well as 2 micrometer origin or 2 microM plasmid origin vector. It is having under selectable marker LEU2 gene. YEP13 vector also includes the entire PBR322 sequence and can therefore replicate and be selected for a both yeast and E. coli cell, because they are having both type of a reason. They are having 2 micrometer plasmid origin of replication and selectable marker LEU2 gene, and they are having PBR322 entire area or entire sequence, so they can simply exist and can work in the E. coli cell as well as in the yeast cell, in eukaryotic cells. We can understand the cloning of YEP13 vector with E. coli yeast. So we can understand that how they are known as the shuttle vector and how they work in both kind of a host. These are the recombinant YEP13 molecules, and this is the target DNA, and this vector is also having the LU2 region, ampicillin and tetracycline region. But when we are introducing our gene of interest, so this tetracycline region will be inactive. And when we are growing this mixture on the media which is having ampicillin antibiotic in the media, so E. coli colonies will grow, and one more thing, when we introduce these vectors into the E. coli cell and after the transformation process, we go for the selection method. So we grow these E. coli cells which are having these vectors on the media which is having antibiotic which is ampicillin. So all the cells will grow up, and further we select the cells and purify DNA from the several clones, identify the correct molecule, and then we grow these cells. When we grow these cells, and one more thing, we can use a different media which is having tetracycline. So these two cells will grow up, but this cell will not grow up because this is now its tetracycline region is now inactive, so they will not be able to grow up in the tetracycline containing media. So that's how we can select this cell which is completely recombinant, which is having our desired DNA region. So we isolate the cells and we purify, we extract the DNA from these E. coli cells and identifying the correct molecule. Then we go for the transformation process of these vectors into the yeast cell. After the transformation into the yeast cell, further we grow these yeast cells into the media which is not having leucine. And one more thing, we will use the yeast which is not having a gene for LEU2 region. So that's how we can select the our required recombinant cells in E. coli cell as well as in the yeast cell. That's how we can use it. What are the uses of shuttle vector? It might be difficult to recover the recombinant DNA molecule from a from a transformed yeast colony. This is not such a problem with YAPs, which are present in the yeast cells, primarily as plasmid. But with other yeast vectors, they may integrate into one of the yeast chromosomes. Purification might be impossible. This is a disadvantage because in many cloning experiments, purification of recombinant DNA is essential in order for the correct construct to be identified by example DNA sequencing. The standard procedure when cloning in yeast is therefore to perform the initial cloning experiment with E. coli and to select recombinants in this organism. Recombinant plasmids can be then be purified and characterized and the correct molecule introduced into the yeast cell. So, this is the sum up of this session, and this session is powered by Digital Version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University Jaipur. If you have any query, then mention in the comment box. I will resolve it. Thank you.